Hello! I wanted to do a video that kind of follows along the Paw Paw Tree through all of its various stages throughout the year. We moved to this property last year, so it was our first year with Paw Paw Trees, and we didn't really know what we had. It took us quite a while to figure it out, and it was a neat experience. The Paw Paws are not overly popular here, even though they were native to this area. Okay, so right here, this is a Paw Paw. Okay, you can see it's very sparsely leafed out right now. It's mid-May, and the leaves are just starting to emerge on the Paw Paw tree. I've got, I think 7 or 8 Paw Paws large enough to produce fruit, and then we've got a bunch of little saplings. Okay, again, this is another Paw Paw. Now, do you notice this brown stuff here that kind of looks like, if this were another type of fruit tree, you would think it's like dried up apples or something, but that is actually the bloom of the Paw Paw. So that is where the fruit is going to grow. It's a dark brown, burgundy, bell-shaped flower. Let's see if I can get it. Let me break one off here. Now, the flower is very inconspicuous, as you can tell. And as the fruit begins to grow, it is also very inconspicuous. But these leaves will grow out. These trees all produce a good bit of fruit. Now you can also see the Paw Paw tree kind of has like a shrub-ish nature. This is another Paw Paw right here. Now they can be pruned to be more tree-like, and I believe if they were growing in a forest where there wasn't as much space, perhaps they would be more tree-like. But you can also see around this Paw Paw here in the sticks and things, there's a bunch of little saplings, Paw Paw saplings. So they are easy to start additional trees from. This one here, I tried to do some pruning to last fall to try to get it to be more tree-like, and we'll see how that all pans out. Again here, more saplings, Paw Paw saplings. The Paw Paw fruit has quite a few seeds. So as I was mentioning, this is a native species of plant to Pennsylvania, to North America, but they're so rare. You never hear of them, you never see them. People don't know what they are. They've heard the word Paw Paw, but that's about as far as it goes. So I'll bring you back in a couple weeks. You can see how the trees fill out with their leaves, and maybe we'll be able to see some fruit development at that point. It is now June 15th, and we are back here at my little Paw Paw grove. The trees are starting to really leaf out now. The little flowers are gone. This Paw Paw here is more of like a bush form because it's never been pruned. But there are some other Paw Paws up this way that are more tree-like because they have been pruned. So if we look here now, we can see the beginnings of fruit forming. Very small, finger size. And they have a slight little fuzzy peachy type of feel to them at this current time. And they're very firm. And they will continue to grow in size. Now, Paw Paws at harvesting time do vary in size considerably. You can have some that are like 10 to 12 ounce fruit, and others that are like 4 or 5 ounce fruit. So it just varies, and I'll show you that when we get to it. This here is a sapling, a few years old, but it does not yet produce any fruit. Does not have it yet. So we'll come back in a month or so and see what things look like then. So we're here to give you a Paw Paw update. It is July 7th, and you can see the leaves are really filling out now, and they kind of cascade over and really do a good job at camouflaging this fruit. If you look closely here, you can see a large cluster, and they're growing. Here's my hand, and I do have a pretty large hand. But this tree, you can't just see it easily, but this tree is loaded with Paw Paws. So here we are, we're at the Paw Paw trees again. It is August 2nd, and the fruit is getting bigger. You can kind of see it's kind of pulling down on the branches now. There's becoming some weight. They're growing. You can really see in this tree here. You see them. They're still nowhere near ready. Still very firm. Now the great thing about Paw Paws, as I watch all of my other trees fruit and, you know, my flowers blossom and all that stuff that you enjoy seasonally, the great thing about Paw Paws is that the bugs don't bother them. They have no interest. I mean, you can see this leaf has been a little eaten, but the fruit are not bothered whatsoever. It is now August 20th, and we had a really ferocious storm come through the area a couple of days ago. And I was curious how many Paw Paws we would have lost. And I don't know if you can see through the fence there, but there's quite a few Paw Paws on the ground. It was very windy. They are still up in the tree. Not all of them fell, and they do kind of blend in, but a bunch did fall. Now they are still hard and very firm. They are not ripe yet, and they are not quite near to it yet. It's going to be a while. And you can see my little sapling Paw Paws here. Some of these are a couple years old and some of these are newer. But we will follow back up in a couple more weeks. So how are the Paw Paws doing? How did they make it through Hurricane Ida? I live in central Pennsylvania. Ida did come through. We had a lot of rain and a good bit of wind. But kind of where these Paw Paws are is fairly protected with other shrubbery and other trees and things. We did have some fruit drop, but there's still a lot of fruit on the trees. So if you take a look here, we can see these are about medium size, still very firm. The color is slightly changing. Let me bring you down here to this tree. Now I can't remember exactly when they ripened last year, but I know we're getting closer. Let's see here. I see a clump back in there. They really hide. Now with the Paw Paw trees, if you prune them, they can look kind of more tree-like. If you don't prune them, they're like a big tree shrub thing. Like that there is a Paw Paw. This here is a Paw Paw. Let me see here. Down in here we've got some. And they are still hard. You can see the cluster of fruit really well on that. But they're still hard. They're not ready. Not yet. And then there we've got baby pawpaws. Right there's a baby pawpaw. Lots of baby pawpaws. Right here are some more baby pawpaws. And some slightly larger baby pawpaws. So we have tried to transplant some of these. We moved 4 saplings last fall to my brother's house. 2 made it through the winter and are growing. So we're anxious to see how that unfolds. Oh, there's a big clump of pawpaws there. There's some really large ones up in there. So we'll come back in a couple more weeks and see what's going on. So here we are, we're back with the pawpaws, and it hasn't been long since I filmed last. I'll bring your attention to this down here on the ground. That's a pawpaw. They're ripe. Today is September 15th. And one of the first indications that they are ripe is fruit falling. They come off very easily. This is a large pawpaw. It's slightly firm to the touch. Kind of feels like a banana, like a ripe banana. And you just see, look, the whole cluster is actually wanting to come. Just bring it along here. Okay, so here's what we've got. Look at that pawpaw. This is huge. I have very large hands. This is like at least an 8-ounce fruit. And you see there is a slight warming of the color, but otherwise they do look fairly similar to how they looked before. Now this one here is a little scorched by the sun. The leaves weren't quite protecting that cluster there. Now the thing about the pawpaws, once they are ripe, they don't stay ripe super long. It's not a real big window of time to harvest your pawpaws, and they also do not keep well. This is all probably why you don't see them in the store. You don't hear about them. They don't transport well. They you need to do something with them, like, you know, make a sorbet or freeze the fruit for smoothies or something. You can't store them for a couple of days. They just don't do hot. So anyways, I thought I would show you how to cut a pawpaw and how to eat a pawpaw and how to work with the fruit itself. Another thing I want to mention is the pawpaws do not get insects. Even when it's totally ripe, there are no insects. Now, once they fall to the ground, they are carried off and eaten very quickly. You saw that one I showed you. It did have a lot of pollinators on it and other little insects getting their fill. The animals carry them off and are very interested in them once they fall to the ground. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cut around long ways here and pull open the fruit. And it is soft, consistency of kind of like a cantaloupe. Okay, so now you just open it up and the seeds are going to kind of cross over where you cut. You can kind of see them there. Sometimes they'll be right on your cut line, just depends. But they are large and they are reminiscent of like a black lima bean, a big black lima bean. They're very big. You can see the fruit is really soft. Right here is a seed. I'll try to get it cleaned off for you. Okay, we'll get another one. But the best way I've found to eat these is with just a spoon, preferably a metal spoon because it's a little sturdier. You just kind of dig in and you scoop out the fruit. See, it's very soft. And the flavor, it's hard to describe. It's buttery. It's reminiscent of cantaloupe or papaya or mango, also reminiscent of banana or maybe a little peachy. It has a very tropical taste to it, like not something you would expect to be growing in central Pennsylvania or native to this area. But actually, the Paw Paw is the largest native tree growing fruit in this area. It's just been kind of wiped out. A very unique flavor. And you can see we're approaching a seed here. I do need to try to get one of these out for you without fruit sticking to it. There, you can kind of see it. Sometimes they're a little flatter than this one. You see? It's pretty big. Yeah, often they're a little flatter, but there you have it. The Paw Paw. So the only thing we have left, let's give this back to the animals of the forest. The only thing we have left is the falling of the fruit and the changing of the leaves, which I will film to kind of finish up our whole Paw Paw year-long journey. Now these fruits will ripen all within like a week and a half of each other. And even still, even now that they're ripened, they're still very camouflaged. They're there, kind of hidden by the leaves. They're in there. And if you can see down on the ground, we've got dropped fruit. That won't last. It won't last long. So anyways, there you have it. And I'll bring you back for the fall foliage so you can get a feel for what that looks like. There's a large clump of pawpaws right there. So it is the middle of October. It's been unseasonably warm. We haven't even had a frost yet. But the pawpaw leaves are starting to change. You can see the tops of the trees are becoming a bright yellow.